Yay.
You might hear a recording prompt because I'm
Hmm.
recording each clip separate as well and loading it onto Facebook. And it's taken fucking forever. But I am determined this will work.
Let's I'm getting this sent to YouTube now, so that's a good start. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, the live stream is probably in effect. We are in effect. We are live. You are go.
Hello, welcome to the 2024 Boston Poetry Marathon. We are live and completely online from 10 a.m. in the morning until 10 p.m. tonight. I am your host for this first hour. My name is Christina Liu, and I'm going to have my wonderful co-host introduce themselves.
I'll go first. I'm Christina Strong, ex Tina. Hello, everybody.
I am the one non-Christina of the group, Chad Parento. I think we're gonna call myself Christina just to alleviate confusion.
Oh,
But
yeah.
There can be,
thank you all for coming.
Yes.
thank you. Okay, thank you so much. We are actually going to go through the set list for this first hour. I don't believe Gloria Monahan is reading. Is that correct?
That is correct. She unfortunately
Okay.
had to go get on a flight.
Okay. So our first reader of the hour is Rob McDonald, followed by Michael Godley, Robbie Gamble, Jessica, DeConnick, Elizabeth Liz Weiss, March Penn, Jonathan Abel, Julia Lucella, and last but certainly not least, an alumni and a longstanding one of the Boston Poetry Marathon, Bridget Eileen Madden. So it's a pleasure to introduce our first reader of the hour, Rob McDonald.
Thanks a lot. Um, Grateful to be part of this. Didn't know I would be going first, so that's a little scary. But um, I'm uh, I'm thinking of a friend and her family who are in Asheville right now. Hoping that they're okay. Um, Seems clear that we need to make some big changes really quickly. I'm going to read some stuff that's in that light, I guess. Kill screen. I tell the minister I want to confess, but he says we don't do that here. I say, okay, but I'm very afraid of death. He says, you're a good man, a pretty good man. You'll probably go to heaven. I say, okay, but I'm very afraid of heaven. He says, no, 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 no. Remember Pac-Man? Heaven is like level 256. One side is perfectly normal. The other is a mess that makes no sense. I say, I don't understand. In what way is heaven like the last level of Pac-Man? He says, in every way, in every way. Gnomon, a horse, an old horse, a washed up, used up horse, a horse with open wounds, a broken horse without the will to battle flies, a horse standing still in the location where it will die, an invisible horse, some might say, a pretty pony, an inconvenient horse, an eyesore, to be honest. Contrails. I'm pretty happy in a swimming pool with something blue at the bottom, waiting to be rescued and lifted into the long-legged afternoon. I hear the gurgle of what the world has to say, then feel the knives of sunlight cut my hair even shorter. It was a fair life. Materializing. One summer we did stuff real people don't do and felt ourselves becoming more real as we bowled cantaloupes down genetically modified aisles, more real as we beat the eggs with steamboats, more real as we drifted away in the celestial raft we'd imagined. In September, there was hell to pay. And by the time we truly understood the us-shaped holes they had punched in our loyalty cards, it was too late to go back. Too late to show you the invisible wheel we needed you to steer. And one last poem here. Red Dwarf. The new guy at work says absolutely nothing whenever he opens his mouth. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know the new guy at work? Now I'm staring at the ceiling, incapable of sleeping, and I can't stop thinking about how little he says. It's darker than it's ever been. Utterly fucking terrifying. It's the last remaining star, and then it's gone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Rob McDonald. What a fabulous way of opening up this first hour. Really incredible how the iconography of the 80s has come back in the form of Pac-Man. So thank you for that wonderful image. Next, we have Michael Gottlieb.
Thanks. Thanks, Christina. Christina, thank you, Chad. It's great to be back again this year. These are all my poems. Seeing is believing. As if you knew better. As if no one had even noticed you. As if there was a mote in your eye. As if there was a clue. As if there was rejoicing in any of this. As if this was not a non-trivial number. When and what? When quantity had a quality of its own. When I can stand today as opposed to what I stood for yesterday. What is priced in inevitably when we say there was once a time when we were so sure we could assay the joint and several futures of our fated friends. What do they say now? A show and tell trial. A true divided window for our divided loyalties. A sort of feedstock for our underfed imaginations. A dab hand at this sort of thing. A bumper car crop. A grim smile espied from the driver's side mirror. A late model coupe from back when every fall there was a new model year. A turn around the course after which we were ready to mix it up again. A medal struck to commemorate that great day when finally we found ourselves cleared to take the wheel. A con, a tension bar, an unholy alliance, a sore winner, a night to forget, untroubled by that storm to the west, which dissipated before reaching us, a kind of providential suspended sentence. A restorative, quickly quaffed during the interval, a years-long scheme that came to tears as so often happens, a song on our lips, a thumping majority, a confused torrent, a roundhouse punch, a kind of registry of abandoned asseverations, a real doozy. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Michael Gottlieb. To borrow from one of your lines, a song on our lips may be with us for the entire day. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Robbie Gamble.
Hi, everybody. So glad to be here this morning. So glad to be part of the, I guess, the early morning coffee brigade. It's gonna be a long day, but we'll get through. This is great. I have 3 poems this morning. The first is called Etymology. I have come to believe that the colorful modifiers lugubrious and fecund were swapped out at birth, because tonight the spring peepers are joyous in their chorus, and their exuberant lovemaking sounds both polyphonic and slippery, which could only be described as lugubrious, while fecund is a word I would want to utter when the calendar flips to November and the water heater conks out, and my favorite aunt dies unexpectedly, and the prospects for an impending election seem abysmal. Tensile. Consider that the tensile strength of silk can stop bullets. So reported an unnamed surgeon 150 years ago, whose office was upstairs from a rowdy Wyoming saloon, who cited the case of a patient with a folded silk handkerchief in his left chest pocket, who got in front of a slug from a Colt 45 and stumbled away with nothing more than a deep bruise over his heart. That the Archduke of Bosnia possessed a silken bulletproof vest, that he rarely wore it, and how different the global maps might look today had he dressed appropriately for that fateful drive in June 1914. Our kids, they go out into this harsh world full of passion and evolving principles. That all you can do is crumple your love and stuff it in their pocket as they head out the door. Then sleep fitfully for the rest of your life. That the strength of silk cannot be reproduced synthetically. Only certain moths in their larval stage can arrange the carbon bonds just so. That mulberry leaves are the most inauspicious raw material. That the human body and a silken shroud are equally compostable. And this last one is a recent one. It's called Jury Pool. The gilt clock hands rotate slowly. So much time you can almost watch it extrude through solemn courtroom air. So much oak, paneling, lecterns, unforgiving benches, a forest felled and reassembled into neoclassical austerity. The defendant is a Black man sitting in a swirl of white court officials. He is practicing fierce patience, concentrating as if he holds the sole antidote to the toxin of verdict. He is charged with distributing drugs. And as I am being excused from service on unexplained grounds, this is all I will ever know of him. This and the frame of his broad shoulders rising and falling, while judge and lawyers horse trade jurors in a sidebar, assembling an optimal 12. Outside, asphalt is hot and creaky under afternoon glare, and I find my car slide back into a concourse of open possibilities, having cosplayed a citizen to segue through the briefest whit of another's life sentence. Thanks.
Thank you for that powerful poem, those powerful poems. Thinking about crumpling a piece of paper and drawing alternate maps is a wonderful idea for us to hold on to as well as we move on. If only we can create different maps in different worlds right now. Thank you so much. Next up, we have the wonderful Jessica DeConnick. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christina. It is just a pleasure to be able to do this again. I'm going to
Thank you.
read 3 short poems this morning. Pastoral. It begins with an epigraph by Miklos Radnoti. To forget would be best, but I have never forgotten anything yet. In the song about sheep, the lake serves as mirror. In the song about death, the mirror shifts to platter, piled high with slabs of meat, served with pitchers of water by the girl who can't come back. When sheep drink water, water makes them well. Water a potion, water a spell. Recite the alphabet, number every sheep. Don't think about the butcher. Don't think about the mirror. Don't think about the girl, her falling, the clatter. If you tell me how it ended, I will say it does not matter. She got lost tending sheep. She got lost seeking water. When she learned to spell laughter, it came out as slaughter. It's the holiday season for me, so I thought I'd read this one on Rosh Hashanah. Grandma, I made kasha varnishkis to welcome the new year. Wolf's kasha. No, they're not in Patterson anymore. But when I opened the box, there I stood in your kitchen, whisking 2 eggs in a ceramic bowl. I added some salt and rendered the chicken fat, though schmaltz is not healthy. Perhaps cholesterol clogs up memory. The odor of buckwheat groats frying with onions wrapped the kitchen and me like your brown winter shawl. I cleaned your blue dishes, your cobalt blue glassware, good china guarded for special occasions, like now, while I work alone in my kitchen. And I will end with this. O bad winter, get up. There's something you need to know. The wind rattles the patio door and hoots through that one frame with the loose seal. Outside, trains and trash trucks rumble and roll. The refrigerator, too, vibrates and hums this morning. These songs are for me. The impossibly cold world wishes me good day. The clattering cans asked if I slept well. Get up, put on your coat, your woolen hat, your scarf and gloves, fasten your boots. Breakfast can wait. There's something I want to show you right now. Thank you very much.
Jessica, thank you so much. That word slaughter imbued into your poem is just stunning. There were a few comments on the chat, but brutal and stunning. Absolutely amazing. Thank you. Next up, we have Elizabeth Weiss.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Chad, all the organizers, for letting me slip into the morning. I'm going to begin with a poem that gives a little history about a smallpox hospital on an island off the coast of my town, Marblehead. Immunity, Cat Island, 1773. On the rocky ledge at low ebb, we held our skirts high as we disembarked, leaving our dresses and trousers in the sifting house. The inoculation hospital Mr. Glover and his brothers helped build on the southwest side stands 3 stories. I can see tinkers and rams a whole mile's distance to Halfway Rock. The gooseberries well distinguished near the smokehouse, the rocks rendered rich and white, topped as if carved. A wellspring will surely ease my parched lips. I trust I will keep when exposed to wind and salt air. Back in town, I hope you are not among those who have been stricken. I know some have been forced to fence off They have been fenced off in infected areas or in pest houses. I wish you not to be among them. Please limit visitors and be sure to inspect all cargo that arrives. Here they tell me I will receive diluted, contaminated material with disease, and so with hope develop a mild case, fully recover, and then be ready to return to you. There are those who believe this new science will make our smallpox count increase. They are weak-minded and without faith. Do not worry for me. I love the island, the spare music of the sea, the night sky eerie and untouched. Guards are posted to ensure no one will come ashore and no one will leave without a health clearance. No boat other than the hospitals will approach, and once returned are to dock only at approved locations. Though I cannot approach the landing and only venture as far as the fence and trench where supplies are dropped off, I would be so grateful if some Sabbath my papa might board the hospital dory to visit and slip candies through the fence to make me smile and encourage my wellness. I await your message with longing. Your devoted daughter. And here is Marblehead today. Once again, tomato stalks brown to gold. Once again, early morning air crisps, making the earth a little lonelier. Once again, sweaters unfold, though the sea air still calls to all the dreamers who are left flanking the seawall, lovers pursuing the beloved. Once again, I sip an extra cup before setting out into the uncontainable churn. Even when storms threaten to erode our coastlines, even when the idea of listening becomes difficult, even when you turn your back to me, once I turned my back to the ocean. Once I forgot that setting sail could remake the world once again. Once again, I clean the hall closet and bring out the boot racks. I am diligently preparing for what, you say? For it all to go. For the body, for the beginner's mind, for the breath. Once again, the cold streams. Once again, the hungry wilderness inside me. I never wanted to be a tangled milkweed. I never wanted to be a pod blowing haphazardly. I never wanted to miss myself or to have to speak in signs to be understood. But once again, I do. This is a short one. First phrase is from a Carl Phillips poem. When it was over. When it was over, they told me my leg would grow back to normal, that if I raised the shade, the magnolia would bloom again. From the hole the size of a fist, a vast river pushed through, and I rode that current all the way down to its source, which pooled at the feet of a giant who lifted me into his arms and said, never be afraid of visitations. You will them. They are a part of your healing. Were that I to be a part of the land of plenty. All night I stayed awake waiting. The wound itched. The bandaging began to stink. I imagine one neighbor fished, another kayaked. A man whistled somewhere without me. It was always as it was supposed to be. And one last quick blessing. Bless the swift that beats its wings, bless the notes of windswept leaves, set free the days lost to sleep, find the ground inside your name. Name your name and bite the taste, sweet and tame you'll never be. Bless those who wait for you at home, bless the home that lives inside. Bless all you know and all you don't. Bless the birth, that long slide. Bless the dogs off the leash. Bless the breath, the days of awe, the nights that creep, the vine, the leaf, the push of sprouts, the ripe fist of figs. Bless the fall and all that's dark and fierce. Bless the ocean, the depth, the wake, the trails. Bless the sails. Bless what keeps us and what won't. Bless the flame, that cave of thought. Bless the wild woods and feral seed. Bless this poem, this word I write, this hand that holds. Bless the time it took to know how to mend that which tears. Thank you.
It was so beautiful. Thank you for those haunting, evocative poems. Many of us reacted to the line, the spear music of the sea, and it made me think of the mermaids singing each to each, not singing to us. But we all need to be blessed this morning. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. Next up, we have, and I'm very excited, a formidable volunteer for the remainder of the day, March Pan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excited that this tradition continues. I think I stumbled into this maybe 13 years ago and was like, this is amazing. So happy to be a part of it. I'm going to be reading from Green Antelope Fire, which is my book with Game Over Books. If you are interested, go to gameoverbooks.com. They publish all kinds of poetry and it's lovely. This one is called Dimensions of Kissing. In the mirror, my face looks like melted butter, and my voice has lost its lavender. This is chronic pain on a weekday evening, trigeminal neuralgia, the suicide disease, or no, just pain, as one doctor said dismissively, like diagnosis is some kind of golden egg only a few ever find. Sometimes my mouth kisses another, and the distance between my longing and my physical being widens into a second mouth that kisses her back and back. Pleasure is hope that lingers, wanting to press the flowers into bookmarks, returning to the page any day in bloom. This next one I figure is appropriate because we are on Zoom, or some of us are watching from a YouTube live stream. But anyway, it's called Gothic Zoom Date. I go to sleep thinking about how hot you are, a shimmering witch webbed with poetic alchemy, lounging on an antique sofa, some wood knobs and swirls, as if frozen in a scream, and your ancestors dancing in the dust behind you, the train roaring, a mundane smirk, your black lipstick tracing me back to desire. Though desire is hard to come by online, an abstraction of the original. I want to hold you in person. Maybe next week, if we're all well enough then. This one's called Love Haiku. To love is to build an invisible castle and say you see it. Another short one, I was thinking about everything that's happened with all these hurricanes and, the importance of the ocean. This is called Sensory Processing, July 2019. All the beaches in Mississippi are closed due to dangerous red algae. Every last beach. The ocean quits sometimes, even when it looks like it keeps going. We're the same way. One day secrets will want to quit too, but they'll be already documented. They'll have to come back as a trail mix of ways that creativity is inconvenient. And I have one last poem for y'all, if that's okay. It's called Invitation. I don't know if you all had a good experience with high school, but I didn't. Invitation. He steals my chocolate pudding when I'm not looking and dumps it under the table. He thinks it's funny, a dump he doesn't have to clean up. He brings deer meat and asks if I want to try some. It tastes like sandy worms, my stomach churns. He invites me over to his house. Says his dad is a gun collector. He doesn't like greens and replaces them with Doritos. He asks if I went on a date, whether I prefer Cluck You Chicken or Golden Corral. He says he is sick of being in special education, and I concur that I am sick of people not letting me take a seat. Well, You can always take a seat with me, he winks and shoves more Doritos into his chipmunk mouth. I meet him at Golden Corral, a pile of fried cream cheese gleaming. He smiles like our plates, shiny siblings of the sun. We don't say much. I'm looking for friends, but mostly I'm looking for moments of avoiding humiliation, islands of peace between the rocky seas of high school, some solace I don't find as he steals money from my backpack and puts a Dorito in my shoe, which I just leave there to become powder. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I'll never look at a Dorito the same way again. I also have to comment that first poem was a beautiful love poem and very modern. So thank you so much. I believe Jonathan Abel is up next. Is he in the room? No. Okay. We'll move on. Julia Lucella.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi.
Oh, thank you. I'm so psyched to be part of Boston Poetry Marathon.
Thank you.
So thanks for having me. The first poem appeared in The Shore, and it has a lot to do with the ways that all of our old New England neighborhoods are changing. Demolition. The weed had wrapped itself in through the chain link fence between our houses, and as we talked, we pulled. We might have been weaving, but as it was, we were unweaving, untangling, pulling a thread, tendrils, throwing them behind us as we went. We managed it down to the roots, thick as tree branches beneath the fence, rock solid. We didn't fall as we pulled it, though we thought we would, each gripping a piece, proud of our work. Some years later, she stood in my yard, only the second or third time she'd been there, 20 years as neighbors, and told me she didn't want to live with any of the children. Weeks later, she was gone. The house is blowing itself apart now, it seems, layer by layer. This week, the roof came off. The construction crew sat on what was once the front stoop. I want to remember it. The steps were made of stone, the house white with blue trim, the railings wrought iron, the base crumbling cement. Her irises in the front yard, always the first of the season. Now as I pass, the walls down, siding gone, the door an elephant's eye I can see into. Skeleton of the house, floors floating, all gone, I say to the crew, and they seem proud, relieved, a long day. I glimpse a railing they haven't knocked down yet, stained dark brown. It seems almost a body, almost her, climbing down, chasing a child, collecting rent from the tenant downstairs. Then I thought I'd read a hurricane poem for us today, and this one appeared in Mom Egg Review. I'm sorry, Mom Egg Review. For Elsa. Born below Dominica, she winds her story through Florida, the Carolinas, until she's managed a flood in Manhattan's Lower East Side, goes 6 inches deep on the Deegan, mashing through Connecticut's shore and fields, and now the rain she's brought pelts against each of our windows in Massachusetts. There is nothing better than the sound of heavy rain, its muddled tone as it hits sidewalk, flat, patio slates, sharp, garden patches, layered crescendo. The dusty globe still sits in the corner of what was once my daughter's room, the screw that holds it on its axis, loose again, even though no one has tried to spin it recently. Still, the earth loosens its grip from our efforts to tether it, read it, follow our own paths inside it. And then this poem is a Boston poem, about a conversation in Boston, Boston Common. It appeared in Innisfree just a little bit ago. Boston Common was just the way I want to feel. Weed smoke wafting its gentle skunk scent. We spied some shade away from the homeless guys and risked that the cool air was temporary, just a passing cloud. I pressed the small of my back to the dirty bench as we talked, mother and son, though we could be friends today, as I forgot myself and just said the next things, and those next things friends talk about. The park was full of noisy men, really laughing, like in a good country, but not really. I don't know now what country can grow here or why the heart gets trained to shrink. Their hearts are so small, you said about the angry customers who come to your restaurant. I didn't want to leave you and yet couldn't believe it was really not so hard. Walk me to the station steps, I said, and you walked me there, my hug shaking your whole body from right to left, like my love could take you just about anywhere. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. That was absolutely wonderful. You brought us from the tumultuous nature of Florida to New York, right back into the Boston Common. So many wonderful lines, garden patches, layered crescendo. There's a musicality about this first hour that I hope will continue on into the next 11 hours of the Boston Poetry Marathon. We have a very last, but certainly not least, reader for this hour, Bridget Eileen Madden. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It is so nice to just be part of this and not have to worry about anything except reading my poems. Thanks to the organizers for all your hard work. This is a Bildungsroman in verse. These are excerpts from it. It's in the voice of a young man and a young woman from the teens to late 20s. And it's inspired a little bit by Jane Austen's Juvenilia, some by 90s alt rock, and some by New Orleans jazz, and mostly by the symbolist poets. It was an assignment of 10 poems from my symbolist master's class at UMaine with, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on Jennifer's last name all of a sudden. Anyway, and it ballooned into a 100-page book that I worked on for over 10 years. And I love it. And if you like these poems and published books and want to take a look at this, let me know, because I'm terrible about sending out my poems, despite such lovely encouragement from the likes of Jessica and Christina Liu and many other of my post-poet friends. And I never do send my work out. I'm just terrible about it. And also, these are the earrings that Jessica and Cheryl Boyce Taylor bought me for my birthday a couple of years ago. So I just wanted to point that out. And also, it's Banned Book Week. In my other life, I work at Mass Bay Community College Library. So I just wanted to bring out support for banned books. All right, that's the end of my spiel, and now are my poems. Curse of a Knowing Heart. Grooves have been carved. Her marble meanders, his goes straight down to the hole he dug himself into. The clairvoyance of turning and spewing resentment, the curse set outside. The gist was his regret, his drunken dithered solicitations come late to the illusions show. Resent magic's residue, feel defensive in a flushing out of everything ever nice, for it was minuscule, some pebbles on a skinned knee. The rest is a vast vat, bubbling with disappointment. Abrahamic. Stifled by the rhododendrons and pine trees, the background in violent purple, she reports to the future her infamous past. Unknowingly, she laughs aloud in the cafe, the unbalanced life of unwanted wants and wants unwanted. Every patch of asphalt will tread upon her, fingernails bitten, letters looped and curled, envy evoked from unabashed seizing of ravished bones. The other women embittered, envious, perceived thievery piques interests, like the blurbs in the gossip weeklies, bring a side order story to feature for the night, hang her anger out to dry. The false private. Haunting her synapses is the feeling of running her fingers through his thick curly hair. She forgot he kept it long then, and in private corners he lied down while she sat, his head on her lap. They touched and stroked and ignored proprieties until they were a little soothed by this. Sleep like a baby. Sleep like a baby drunk off artichokes, birthday lovers aging, reading the legend to figure out the map of each other. 14 years since her first thong, she's lacy red with ribbons. This goes on to tell the truth. No story needed, just the telling. Stone girl, without desires, without indiscretions, moving fluidly through stupors and wantonness, sinking down after the storm's disruption, backing down to the floor of the ocean, impassive as the tired people grumble, angry from the way the world works and blaming her for it. There's no way for her to fix it, but that never matters. Serial gazers, insane shifting over shoulders, manic men high off memory grunting, restless animals feisty in the light of the moon. She hums tuneless, sustained nasal notes, saving her from the brink. Unforgivable story. He pushed her for what she couldn't give, what was dead inside her. This phantom child that never existed except in her mute fear. What she held silent kept his fury. His ignorance, her isolation was culpable for the turning. Fire, venom, seething, suffocation. This story she stifled. This story she drowned herself in. And this is from later in the book. This is actually the last poem of the book and my last poem to read. My last 3 poems. Swaying, swaying. Gone down different paths for so long now, I don't even know. There was once a dream, can't really remember it though. And down from the shelf he reached for it, pulled it out and handed it to her. There were white lilies and heart-shaped pieces of tissue paper. I don't know. It was a while ago. Who can remember all the rest of it? Why it crumbled, where the glitter went once it spread everywhere. It's just cold in that room. She wishes she had the motivation to sweep up the dust, be in love with the right person for once, make sparkling decisions that kiss her in the dark with razzle and dazzle. I don't know. I don't know. Mixtape. Blessed be to the spinning wheel and love to the cinnamune humans. I thank you for this amazing legacy, swaying gently, such a waist, generous hips, long bust, curve of back. I ain't never, no, I ain't never loved the way that I loved you. Thou art fair, yea, pleasant. Our bed was free. Rose of the valley, lily of thorns. So is our story. And this is the last poem. Oh, the swans, what they bring to mind. An emerging pair drifting for life, necks as hearts on the gilded horizon. Then the earth cracks open along the banks of the great river. In the maw is an awakening, seizing a feckless fog, oiling the muscles of the back, releasing the tension of 6,000 years, rejecting the burden of exclusivity, making a steamed Venus, emerging assured of her pleasure. She smashes her bride's diadem, banishes generations of fate's fetid filth. The virgin's heart surges scarlet. It flourishes for a better future. She won't flee passion, distracting herself with fallacious integrity, nursing a vapid inclination for bread makers, grapefruit spoons, sham pillows, stacking inflated fantasies and deep-muted desires, crucifying effervescent fancies for more material manufactured sequences, occupying the hearth, leaving the lightning for the blessed characters and painted panes. The lucky ones abandon the mirror of ancestors, eradicate the notion of separation of home and heat.
Bridget, that was magical. It was so imagistic. And I see you in all of the poetry. That was a wonderful way to cap off the first hour. And as per Bridget's poetry, we're lacy red with ribbons, drunk on artichokes, and making sparkling decisions. Thank you all. What a great way to begin this day.
Wait, we got another one coming? Oh my God.
I know, we have 11 hours.
Oh no.
I don't have enough fingers. Thank you all. It's just such a joy. I'm going to announce the MC, the tech host, as well as the readers for our next hour. So our tech host for the next hour is Chad Parento. He's really been the tech host for the entire day. Our MC is Bridget Eileen Madden. And then we have in the 11 o'clock hour, Willie Weidman, Ellen Steinbaum, David Miller, Mayreed Byrne, Meredith, Alexis Baggett, Marcia Ranglin Basso, Meredith Arena, Marcella Durand, and Martha Collins. Thank you all. We'll take a short break and reconvene at 11 a.m.